Hey guys, I hope you're well. While I do the restoration video work in my shop, I wanted to mention a few things about learning CW. A few people have asked a few questions of me, and I learned CW a long time ago, but I do enjoy slowing down for people. And here are some suggestions from a guy who's most comfortable sending about 20 and receiving. I'm good with anything up through about 35 on a good day, maybe 40, but I'm going to start dropping words. And I say words because at that speed you're not dropping a letter here and there, you're dropping a word here and there. When you get up in speed, you're not really you're hearing the individual letters, but you're not thinking about them. When you hear an A, your brain doesn't go A. Your brain just waits for the rest of the word. The words start to flow instead of the letters. And so, anyway, having said that, here are some hints that I feel would serve you well. Now, my keyer battery died, so I started using the keyer in the rig for a couple days. I've got to clear my throat. Hang on, pause you. Okay. And so I started calling a CQ with the rig, and it was laggy. Every now and then it would lag, and I went in the menu, and I knew why. The ACS function was enabled, the automatic character spacing, and I detest it. When you get comfortable with CW, you're going to want control over your code. You won't want a machine timing you out, setting your timing. You'll set your timing. I don't want to send machine code, nor do I want to hear machine code. It's very difficult copy, actually. Your fist, the sound of your fist, and yes, most people do develop a unique sound. Timing is what it is, or many people do. So again, ACS, automatic character spacing, I suggest no. Don't learn with it on. Just don't. Headphones, no. Not at first. You need distractions. You need not to feel isolated. I want you to hear noise in the background. Ideally, it would be rig noise, either hash, band hash, or just anything, CW in the background. Not loud, but just something to distract your brain and force you to focus on the code at hand, which is what you're trying to copy. I really suggest not using headphones, believe it or not, to learn Morse code. Next point, you're gonna not like this one, man. But even in the very beginning, well, I'll take that back. When you're struggling along, when you've memorized all the characters and you can write them down, when you hear them, you know them, and you can write it down. Okay, you're not ready quite yet, but I'm telling you, once you hit about 10 words per minute, the writing's over with, guys. You're not going to write down every single letter. You can't continue to do that. It will hold you back. And it will prevent you from not only hold you back as far as how fast you can copy, it will hold you back mentally, because as long as you're writing down individual letters, you're not, and I'm talking about once you're getting up in speed a little bit, if you're still writing down individual letters, you're not hearing the flow of the words. Sorry about the furnace over there. Actually, I'm not sorry. It's been dead for a week, and I finally got it repaired. I repaired it. Highly suggested. Once you hit about 10 words per minute, no more pen and paper. Well, yes, pen and paper, but only going to write down QTH, name, and rig. antenna. Those four things, jot them down because you'll forget them because you're going to be nervous as hell. And I jot them down. No, I don't either. At this point, what I jot down, if I don't have my logger open, I'll jot down. I always jot down the guy's call because I'll never remember it. I jot down the guy's call, the frequency, and the time so I can log it later. I'll remember all the rest. Okay? Write down only the pertinent info once you hit about 10 words per minute. Next suggestion, learn with real QSO text, simulated QSOs. I'm not saying to make that the only text you learn on, but definitely include real QSO text as well. And it is important to include some text that's not ham related, words that'll trip you up. And yes, they still trip me up a little at 35 words per minute. If I hear a strangely spelled word or a weird word that I don't know, it stops me for a minute mentally, and I'll miss the next 3 or 4 words because they're coming in fast, you know. But even then, that's fine. I'll get the gist of what he said. My brain will fill in those missing 3 or 4 words. I don't need them. I know what he's talking about. I know what he's saying at 35 words a minute. You know, when you're talking to somebody using your voice face to face, you don't hear every word, especially if you're in a crowded environment. But you have no problem understanding the person. No different with CW. Okay. The issue of straight key versus keyer versus bug. If you plan to use a straight key, by all means practice with it. But if you plan to use a keyer also, by all means practice with that. You can use them both. You don't have to start with one and then transition to the next. That would be, in my opinion, almost a mistake. Let's say you do plan to use a straight key, okay? So you're going to practice with your straight key, but you're not sure whether you're going to go to a keyer or bug. Don't go to either yet. For the moral of this little story is you're going to probably only be able to learn using a keyer or a bug. I've tried using a bug. There's no way in hell. And I'm pretty good at CW. Been practicing it for 47 years now. And there's no way in hell I can transition from my paddles to a bug. Not happening, guys. If you think you might like to use a bug someday, start with your straight key in the bug. Then maybe someday you can transition from I have a feeling it's a type of thing where, maybe not though. I was thinking where you could transition from a bug to a paddle, but not vice versa, not the other way. But probably not. Probably not. Once you're used to a bug and forming the dashes manually, yeah, you go to make a dash with a keyer and paddles, and you're going to unleash a string of dashes because you're going to hold the paddle down, you know. Anyway, enough of that. When your speed is up to about 20 words per minute and beyond, and you make a mistake, don't send a string of dits, dit, 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 like a lot of times. Well, even I mostly do, but not when I'm going fast, I don't. You don't have time. Let's say you're going to send the word house. You're telling them something about your house. And you send HMUSE. You know what? When you're up in speed, you'll take that because you know what the other person's going to hear? He's going to hear the word house flow out of his speaker. An individual letter doesn't break that word, if that makes sense to you. And at a minimum, just go with it. At a maximum, don't send a string of dits. just repeat the broken word. You know, if I send HMU, I'll just send HOUSE right after it. And in the mind, in the brain of the receiver, he won't even hear it. It doesn't register. The HMU won't register, but the word house, it flows through his brain as house. If that makes sense, man. Those are my tips for now. I'm sure I'll have others that I haven't thought of yet, but I'll jot them down. I've got this list here. I won't throw it away. I won't recycle it yet. And so now I know what I've talked about. When I think of other hints as a dedicated lifelong CW enthusiast, I'll jot them down and make a part 2. I'm sure I will. So let's call this part 1 of Blowzo's Learning the Codes. And it's important to put the S on the end of codes. It sounds ignorant. Blowzo's a humble one. And so is Chuck. Good luck. If you learn Morse code, you will not regret it, and you will use it on and off over the years for fun for the rest of your life, guys. I promise you. Take care. And 73. Bye now. Back to my restoration work in the land of arcs and sparks. Be well.